Hi everybody and welcome. We're super excited for today's workshop. We just finished wrapping up the same one but in Spanish. So we were really excited about all the engagement that we're seeing and all the questions that are coming up on this subject of credit and understanding what credit is. Especially during these times, there's probably a lot of fear, doubt, a lot of questions up in the air that you need answering around this subject, right? And so that's why, based on all the feedback that we're receiving from the community and the questions that are coming up, we decided to bring this workshop to you and invite our good friends at Operation Hope, who are experts in the subject matter, to come and educate our community so that you too can feel empowered, you understand what to do, what not to do, and the things that can benefit you during this time as you start working on your credit, building credit, establishing credit. All of that we'll be covering today. So for all of those of you watching, make sure you comment down below. Let us know where you're watching from. If you have any questions, we'll be checking in our comments from time to time and answering those questions as they come up. So if there's anything that you need clarification on, let us know. If you, during this presentation, would like to set up an appointment with our guest speaker, send us your contact info so that we can connect to you and she can help you. So at this time, I would like to introduce Isabel Duran. She's with Operation Hope. She's a financial well-being coach and has been, an expert in the subject matter for many years now and has been doing this. And I know she's super passionate, has been helping families rebuild, establish credit. So why not have her come and teach us on this subject to help us better understand? So at this time, I would like to welcome Isabel and to introduce herself and maybe talk a little bit about what Operation Hope does and how they can help you during this time. So Isabel, welcome. Thank you again for joining us. And why don't you share a little bit about who you are and who Operation Hope is?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Isabel Duran. I am a financial well-being coach with Operation Hope. And Operation Hope is a nonprofit HUD counseling agency that's been around for 27 years, a long time, providing education, workshops, one-on-one counseling in credit and money management, home buyer education, and small business training. Our founder, John Hope Bryant, is one of the most dynamic people I've ever met. What I like about the organization and him is that they stay relevant to what is happening now and find programs and funding so we can help you better, give you better information up to date. And what I love about this company is that we have a policy of not to charge for our services. So what we do is we try to help you fix your credit. And so why would we charge you if you're trying to fix your credit, right? Usually the money that other people would charge you can use to fix your credit. So I would love to have you listening to John Hope Bryant, but let me just pass on that he is very motivating and he's on video every day motivating us. He appears on TV and some programs to talk about what's going on, and he's telling us to help everybody we can, and that's what we try to do, and we enjoy what we do. So we've been around for more than 27 years. This is a page about our track record. We've been pretty busy, and what's interesting about Operation Hope is that we have branch offices inside locations that have donated to our services as well as provided office space. So I am located inside Los Angeles Bank of America office. And one of the things that we try to do is keep our partners happy, but they know that we need to be there for the community. So we're not confined to just the institution that donated to us, but we are confined to helping everybody that we can to improve their credit history and their budgeting so they can be bankable, so they can buy a car at low interest, they can buy a home with our down payment assistance programs, and they can start their small business with our training and our mentorship programs. And also, we have a youth empowerment program where we go to schools where we are invited to offer children and middle schools and high schools and colleges to also give them the credit and money management workshops and expose them to small business training. The thought of having a 10-year-old create their own business, so maybe in 20 years they can create their own corporation and jobs. So that's kind of exciting. So that's our history, and we have a good track record. So I'm Isabel. I'm Hope Inside of Bank of America, and we use the Hope Inside model, which received awards by the American Banker magazine. And we have all kinds of yeah, information and training and partnerships to help you get ahead. So, what I'm going to do is talk about credit because it is very basic to have good credit. Uh, Nowadays, it's almost where you need to have a credit history with a good credit score, not only to get to get a credit card or a loan, but nowadays we're being asked to provide that for job employment and for insurance and for life insurance and for renting an apartment and especially buying your new home. So having credit is really important, and having good credit really gets you ahead. So I'm going to give you basics of what consists of a good credit score and how to do that just in the next few pages. So here is a brief abbreviated workshop. Usually I take a little longer to talk about budgeting and how to budget, but we feel that credit is so important nowadays, especially with the COVID-19. There's so much going on. A lot of us are not working. What are we doing with our credit? And of course, there's all those frauds and scams that are going on. So you need to be aware of what's going on. And we have what we call the ability to get a free credit report through annualcreditreport.com. So there's some services that are being provided to help you. So let's take that away. So we're going to talk about understanding credit, what makes up your credit score, know your rights as a consumer. You do have some rights, which is really exciting. How to establish and rebuild your credit profile. So I tell everybody, in order to get a credit report and a credit score, you have to apply for credit. We will talk about how to establish credit if you haven't established credit before. And I'm always surprised to meet people at young age saying, I don't believe in credit. I never had credit. I don't want to deal with it. But now I need to buy a car. So what do I do? So you need to start with applying for credit through either a bank or a credit union that offers a secured credit card. This is where you open up a savings account of $200 or $300 deposit. And with that, that's your collateral for your credit. And so they'll issue you a credit card. And what happens is once you get a credit card, you now have a file with the three agencies that create the credit report. That's Equifax, Experian, and Transunion. They are the three major companies that have been around for more than 70 years. And they do the exact same thing, but they have to look differently. So their scores are, the ranges are just a little different, so they don't copy each other. Their logos and their coloring of their wording is a little different, but they do the exact same thing. What they do is they collect information from creditors, from banks, from finance companies, financiers, and whoever subscribes to their services, so they can pull a report. And if they give you a loan or a credit card, then they report the payments to them. So it's a continuous circle of getting information, crunching out the formula, and then spitting back a report of what you've done in the last 10 years and apply a point system based on your activities. So that's how you get a credit report. And so, in order to get a credit report for you, let's say I'm a management company, apartment management company, I have to subscribe to these three companies in order to get a credit report. And that's why sometimes they charge you a little too much, but they charge you for the credit report. That's to pay these three companies to download your credit report. And so if I am a creditor, if I offer credit at my store, I subscribe to these companies so I can pull your credit report, give you credit, and then I report that I have approved your loan for $5,000, and then you start making payments, and I report to these companies your payments. Nowadays, it's all done electronically. Everything's done virtually, really. And so it's done a little faster, but that's basically the process. So it's a constant emergent information coming in and coming out with a report. So you can get your free credit report from these three companies free every year, once every year. However, during the COVID-19, annualcreditreport.com is offering a free credit report once a week, which is wonderful. You know, you can see what's being reported every week if you are in a lot of activity and you want to see that, make sure that no one is using your number or using your credit. Normally it's one per company once a year, but now you can do that. Now these free reports will report your activity and your accounts and if you paid on time or not, but they will not have a score. Usually Equifax, Experian, and Transunion will charge you for your credit score. That's how they make money. Operation Hope has a relationship with Transunion, so we're able to go onto the portal, enter your name and address, and we can get your credit report. It's a soft pull. That means that I don't take points off your score, and nobody will know that I pulled your report except you. So we have that service to offer you when we do credit counseling. So these three companies are the ones who do all that calculating. We don't know the formula, but we do know a few things about the score. For one thing, the score is really for people to figure out, to get a feeling for you, to see if you're credit worthy, if you're a risk to offer you credit. So if I am Target, I can enter your information at the cash register, which I did. I went to Target to see how easy it is to get a credit card. So I gave him my license and my social security number. Within 2 minutes, I was approved and got a receipt. And 2 weeks later, I got that red card they give. And then 3 weeks later, I got the bill. I didn't realize free easy credit was at 27% interest. So you have to be careful where you apply. But they automatically see me through the three companies electronically based on my credit score. I must have had good credit because it was really quick. So the creditors always want to see something over 600. At least 660 is fair. Anything below that, then there's been some issues with your credit, either some lates, maybe nothing paid, or you don't have enough credit history, or you don't have enough credit limit. So I'll explain that. Everything over 700 is great. And this is where you have the ability to negotiate interest rates and get a better deal, especially when you're doing house hunting, if you want to buy a home. All right. So we still don't know the formula, but we know that there are 5 points to your score. And the most important one is payment history. 35% of your score and the amount of debt you use is 65%. That's more than half of what uh, is affecting your credit score. So here is where, I start scolding people and I go, you got to pay on time. You got to pay down debt. You got to just pay the minimum. Just pay on time, because when you're late more than 30 days on an account, then you get ding. That's what we call when you're late and it's taken off your credit score. So at Target, I charged up $50. I got the bill and I have to pay by the 22nd of the month. So if I pay by the 30th, then I'm just late and they charge me a late fee. So I'm paying extra now. There goes the discount that they gave me. But if I'm late 30 days from the date that I had to pay, which would be the 10th of the month, then it would go on my credit score as a 30-day late. And that would take off 5 to 10 points off my score just for a little Target card. Okay. So be careful. Any type of consumer credit like Walmart, Target, stores, you're late 30 days, it's 5 to 10 points. When you're looking at Visa or MasterCard, which is a little higher category, you're looking at 15 to 10 to 15 points taken off your score. If you have a car loan and you're late, that's around 20 points they take off your score. And of course, your mortgage is your best category of credit. If you're late on a mortgage payment, you're talking about 50 points. So that's why they're really careful about looking at your credit when you're looking for a mortgage to buy a home. So debt utilization is something that I need to explain, and I hope I can do it virtually. So one thing is credit card, lines of credit. When you're approved for credit, you are given a credit limit. So at Target, when I applied at the cashier, they gave me credit right away and it was $500. That means I can borrow $500 and then pay the interest if I leave a balance. So I went to Walmart and that was pretty easy. I got $500 credit limit, also 25% interest. And then I went to Best Buy and I got $1,000 credit limit. So altogether, I have a cumulative of $2,000 credit limit. So the technique here to keep your points up is that if I charge up a phone at Best Buy and I buy food at Walmart and I buy a TV at Target, I need to make sure that I am under 50% of the credit limit. So that means I should have totally spent no more than $1,000 in order to keep my points up. If the Target TV is more than that, and I'm less than 50% balance of what I owe to the credit limit. So remember, Target, Best Buy, and Walmart was 2,000 credit limit, and if I owe more than 1,000, my points will go down. If I pay down the debt where my balance on my credit cards are less than 50%, even better, less than 30%, my points will go up, just like that. So remember that when you're using one or two credit cards. Try not to use 10 credit cards, okay? Because you get confused. And debt utilization helps when you're trying to raise your credit score a few points or 20 points. I always tell folks, why don't you call Best Buy and ask for an increase in credit limit and then pay off this credit card so the balance is way less than 30% on your credit limit. Within 2 to 3 weeks, you'll see your points go up. So remember debt utilization. And so sometimes folks have, life gets in the way and they have issues and they're not paying a lot on their credit cards. They're just paying the minimum. And you start seeing uh, the people use all their credit limits, so they're maxed out, and that's when your score really goes down, and it's really hard because then you're going to get a little more interest. There's costs there that you want to avoid. The minimum payment just doesn't cover everything. You start paying interest on your balances, so try not to do that. You want to use your money to invest in something else. So the score is also takes into account how long you've had credit history. Usually, when people start with the first credit card, they get a secured credit card, and that's the first thing you see on their credit report. They start at 620, so they give you a good jump there. If you had credit history for 15 or 20 years, you get a few more points for that. Account diversity is a mixture of credit card lines of credit and uh, installment loans like car loans, personal loans, mortgages. New credit is every time you apply for a credit, whether you get approved or not, they take off 2 to 4 points off your score. And I remember I went to a workshop and asked, why does it look like it's, punishing you for getting new credit? And they're saying that it's because they want to discourage you from asking for new credit. You don't need a lot of credit. You just need a few credit cards and an installment loan to improve your credit score. But that's their policy. It only stays on your credit report for 2 years, and eventually you can rebuild your credit history or improve your score from those 2 points over a few months. Okay. Any questions on this circle that I can answer?
We don't have a question on the circle, but I do have two questions that have come up here. And the first one is, how soon after applying for a credit card does it reflect on your credit report?
I find that Experian is the fastest credit company that shows a credit report. So, like within 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Transunion and Equifax is like 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
It'll appear on your credit report.
Okay. And the other question that I have here is, at what age can you start establishing credit and obtain a report? Because someone here is asking, can I get a report for my 13 or 5-year-old children?
Let me see if I can answer that question. um, I've done workshops for parents groups, and I tell them that they should take a look at a credit reporting company base and enter their children's, they may be 5 or 6, enter their children's social security number to make sure it hasn't been taken. Because we've heard so many hacking situations with credit companies, medical firms. I'm sure you've seen all that advertising in the last few years where, they found out something was hacked. And sometimes there's some medical records. And, we're afraid that they may be using children's social security numbers. So I would say you should take a look at your children's credit report, or just enter your children's social security number on one of those free annualcreditreport.com websites. Go for Experian and see if you could enter that information and get one. Or you can just call me. I could send you an authorization form to get one for TransUnion and see if anything's reported. Make sure it's not being taken. You can even put a fraud alert on it. But to give them credit, that's really up to you. Because you can have them open up a savings account for your children and give them a credit card. But I would be hesitant on anyone younger than 18, only because you're giving them a credit card to spend on their own, and then what if they lose it and don't tell you? What would you do? Did that help?
Yes, that helped, and yeah, I would say the same thing. I wouldn't trust my kids under 18 with a credit card for sure, because
Uh, I mean, it's up to you. You're the parents. You can do what you want. I'm just giving you some precautions of what I've seen. And but I would check and protect your children's social security number just in case, you
yes,
know.
I agree. Okay,
Yeah,
you can
present
continue
season.
on.
Okay, great. So now we know about scoring. Another thing I do, I've mentioned in the other class, when I have a couple who wants to buy a car or a house, but one partner has low score, the other partner has high score. How can we fix this? And one of the techniques that we offer is uh, having one spouse put their spouse on their credit card. So I remember my husband hates credit. He doesn't want to owe anybody, but we needed to have a credit score. So I put him on my Chase credit card, and I just called the Chase company. I said, "Hey, I want to add my husband. Here's his social security number, date of birth." And he got on the phone, said, "Okay," he authorizes that. And so he's on my credit card. He doesn't use it, only when we've had car problems. That's always necessary. But within 3 weeks, his score went up. He actually got a score, and it was pretty, just almost as high as my score. So it helped with this couple, who the husband had a score of 400, and the wife had a score of 700. She put him on two credit cards, and within 3 weeks, his score went up 100 points. And then we had to stop him because he was able to get a Starbucks credit card, and he charged too much. So we had to wait a whole another month for him to pay it down and get that score up. And then they bought a house. So they're pretty happy. But it's just a learning lesson that, you need to pay down debt. Okay, enough of that. So let's go on with just a little bit of detail on payment history. Make sure you pay on time. Try to make that payment on time. That's so important. Those points really stack up if you don't. Amount owed. So keep that balance under 30% of your credit limit, and you'll see how your score will increase. Length of credit history. So they look at your oldest account, and that gives you a lot more points. So sometimes you may not want to close an account if it's in good condition. Even though you don't owe anything, you may want to use a credit card once a year so you could keep that history there and that credit limit too. Because once you close an account, it closes that credit limit. So just be aware that a lot of credit card companies will close your account if you don't use it after a year. So, but don't overspend. Just use $25 worth just to keep that open. So that's length of credit history, and then every time you new credit, it's a hard pull. Now I'm able to pull your credit report, and it's a soft pull because we have that relationship with TransUnion. So I can do it every week, every month, and it's still a soft pull. So far, so good. I like TransUnion. Types of credit. So we like a mixture of revolving and installment. So it could be like a home equity line of credit or credit cards. And then installment is where you have fixed payments with a fixed interest rate. Could be a mortgage, student debt, car payments, personal loan. So those kinds of things. Okay. So life happens, and we have all kinds of things that affect our economy. 10 years ago we had a recession, and so we're still recovering from that. And then we get a pandemic. So, gosh, one thing we need to do with your budget is just save some money for emergencies. But sometimes, we have a car problem, we can't go to work, we get sick, we have an accident, all kinds of things happen. So sometimes there are times when we can't make a payment, we don't know what to do, and we get a collection. And we still, we're just recovering from pandemic, or we have a different job, we can't pay, so we have this collection in our account. And civil judgments are, let's say I go to Target, I charge up 2 TVs and I don't pay. Uh, Pandemic kept me from working, so now they send me to court, and I don't show up because I got to stay home, and I lose the case, and so now there's a judgment on my credit report, or other judgments, or I don't pay my federal taxes, and or state taxes, or county, or whatever tax I have to pay. I don't pay it. I ignore them. So that goes on my credit report. And then, of course, bankruptcies, Chapter 7 or Chapter 13. So these are the years for collections, judgments, and taxes. Excuse me. These stays on your credit report for 7 years. And what the credit card companies, or what the credit reporting companies have done is they have agreed to remove this information from your credit report after these many years, in order to help you have your credit report look better, so you can get to the next stage, maybe get a loan that you need. But this doesn't mean that you don't owe. So there's no forgiveness here. It's just a matter of these things will drop off your credit report so you can look better. Chapter 7 is a bankruptcy where you only put in or list non-secured assets. So you can't put your car loan or your home on Chapter 7, but you can put personal loans that have no collateral, credit cards. You just tell the judge, I'm still recovering from the recession now. There's a pandemic. I haven't been able to work. I just can't pay these bills. And so I can't advise you on bankruptcy, because that's a legal procedure. We don't have legal capacity, but I can explain what it is. This is where you go to a lawyer, you get counsel, you list the debts that you want to eliminate. They present it to the court, the judge, the creditors agree, the judge approves, and then they erase your debt. And this bankruptcy stays on your credit report for 10 years. So that will affect your ability to get other kind of credit. I've heard some apartment buildings don't like bankruptcies on the credit report, but a year later you can rebuild your credit history pretty quickly. I've seen that. So unfortunately, you have to pay the legal fees. I don't know where they are. I don't have referrals for bankruptcy lawyers. I just haven't met any right now. Chapter 13 is bankruptcy. Chapter 13. This is where you make payment arrangements. You want to rearrange your debts. You tell the judge, I don't want to file with Chapter 7. I want to make payments. I just, got cut hours. I can only pay $10 per account. If you let me, I can do that. They put you on a 3-year payment plan. Again, this is just to rearrange your debt. And then it stays on there for 7 years. So this is what stays, negative items stay on your credit report. Before these companies allowed this, they would stay on your report for, forever. So it's sort of good. You do have rights as consumers. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act says that no one can discriminate in offering you credit based on, let me see if I remember, it's sex, marital status, religion, nationality, ethnicity, disability, and source of income. So the only way they can deny you is based on your credit history. Credit card accountability responsibility. This is for the credit cards. They have to be transparent. They have to tell you if they're going to raise the interest rate and why. They also have to tell you when you've overdrawn on your credit limit. And then Disclosure Act, they have to tell you what they're doing with you and your credit card. They can't just all of a sudden spring something on you. So they have to be very transparent on your credit cards. Fair Credit Reporting Act, gives you the right to correct and accurate credit report that's yours. You have the right to dispute anything that's wrong or incorrect, and any dispute on an account that you write to the credit bureaus, they have to respond by law within 30 days and then resolve it between 60 and 90 days. They have to resolve it. Fair debt collection practices. This is for collection agencies. There's two kind of collection agencies. There's an independent collection agency, and there's a collection agency that works for a industry. So, for instance, medical industry uses collection agencies to collect for them. They don't do their own collection. So if I went to Kaiser on an emergency, I had a car accident, I had the ambulance drive me to Kaiser, and then Kaiser fixed my broken leg, then I'm going to get all kinds of bills from the ambulance company, from Kaiser, from the emergency, and I don't know how much for the cast on my leg. And I can't work because I have a broken leg and no car. So it goes into collection. And so a collection agency will call me. Eventually they'll stop calling me, but it will always be on my credit report. And so I have to deal with Kaiser and see if I can negotiate a lower debt because of the difficulty I had. If it wasn't a medical bill, then maybe it's an independent collection agency. Let's say Target said, forget it, Isabel will never pay those 2 TVs. I'm just going to sell it to an independent collection agency for, discount amount. And that collection agency will start collecting on me, will send me letters and call me. Now, the Practices Act for collection agencies means that when they call or when they write letters, they can't be alarming, they can't be rude, they have to be professional, and they can't call me before 8 or after 9. And I have the right to request verification that that collection that they're asking me for is mine. I mean, because I have a common name, so prove to me that I owe that. So I have the right for that in the Debt Collection Practices Act. All right? So you have some rights. All right, so establishing and rebuilding credit. So again, you can establish credit with a secured credit card. We like you to clear up any public record, pay off any closed accounts or balances. I can call collection agencies and see if we can get a settlement or negotiate paying less than what you owe, so you can get that off your credit report. We can dispute inaccurate information. And there is an identity theft process that we go to if you feel that someone has taken your credit card number or your social security number, or, there's so much hacking. You find your credit report and you find things that are not yours. So what I do is the process is I pull the report. They tell me exactly, that address isn't mine, that account isn't mine, I didn't do this. And so I give them the copy. They go to the police station, get a police report. Now, mind you, the police won't do anything because it's not one of their priorities, but they will give you a police report, and we need that in order to dispute these accounts that are not yours on your credit report. And perhaps we can ask for a fraud alert. And this is an alert that's for free for a year. If it's on your credit report, if anybody attempts to use your credit, your social security number, it will be denied because there's this fraud alert on your credit report. So those are some of the things of establishing and rebuilding credit. And on the next page, there's some other options or ideas of credit building. We have some banks will offer credit builder accounts. This is where you apply for a loan, you make the payments, but you don't get the money until after you make all the full payments. Meantime, it's building you credit and credit history. There's also self.inc. We had some really great responses from this website, self.inc. It helps you create an installment account and create credit history that way. So those are some new options that we're finding that are helping the community. So I was going to mention a little bit about student loans. There's another process with student loans. If you feel that the college you went to and paid for didn't work out, they created fraud, or they closed down because of bankruptcy, there's a few things you can do to dispute them and get on the student loan forgiveness program. So those are some of the things we can help you out with your credit. I hope I didn't miss anything. Any questions so far?
Yes, all great information, especially around the student loans. I know that, some students are watching, and that's something that has come up, especially right now during this time of like, do I still need to make payment and all of that and how that works. But I do have some questions here in regards to Credit Karma and how accurate that is. Is it trustworthy, the credit score that's reflected on there?
Credit Karma, I like. It's legit. And they do give you a pretty good credit report of your activities. But they use a different credit scoring system because they don't want to pay FICO. I shouldn't say that. They don't use the FICO scoring system. They use a Vantage scoring system. And you won't believe it. It's created by Experian and Equifax. Okay, so they're doing their little side money on the side. So it's a different credit system. And I noticed it's around 5 to 20 point difference on some of the reports. I think Credit Karma is good because you could pull it on your phone and you can always monitor your credit. And I do get folks coming in all excited saying, hey, my score went up. And so I pull their Transunion and it's not quite that up. It's just a difference. But I tell them they're on the right path. They're paying down debt and they're not being late. So they just get a little disappointed. I go, you just have to understand it's just a different credit scoring system, but it's good. It's good to monitor, make sure nobody else uses it. And people have come in and noticed that somebody's fooling around with their credit, and so that's when we catch them. So that's pretty good.
I see. Yeah, no, I personally use Credit Karma, and I keep that in mind that there's like a few point discrepancy, but it's still like to check and see kind of where you're at and ways to improve, right?
You're going to find the credit score difference between Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And the reason why is because they can't copy each other.
Oh,
They do the
interesting.
exact same thing, but you'll see the ranges are just a little. If you get the 3 scores, you'll see Experian is the higher score, then it's Equifax, then it's TransUnion. I don't know why, but I noticed that's always like that.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I've always kind of wondered that myself too. Um, Another question, and this is something that actually has come up a lot, and I get a lot of people asking me, how do I report my utility bills as well as my rent to be
Oh,
able to obtain credit for that?
oh gosh, why did I miss that? Experian Boost
Oh, okay.
is
Experian Boost.
offering is offering that program where if you allow Experian to get your checking account or however they ask, however you make payments of rent and utilities, they will use that as credit history. And they promised at least a 13-point score increase. I did do a workshop in November, and I remember the secretary said, I used Experian. It just came out, and she used it. She goes, I got 50 extra points. She
Oh,
was so
wow.
excited. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely need to sign up for that myself because I know that, as like families start preparing also to purchase a home and different expenses like that, you want to make sure that you are, reporting, especially if you're paying on time, so it can help boost that credit score.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's all those nice programs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sorry I was pushing a button here.
Oh, no, no problem. I have another question here, and it says, I opened up a credit card about a week or so ago, but now I regret that decision. Can I close the account right away? And how much will it impact my credit score, if at all?
Oh, that's a hard question. So you open up a credit account.
Yes.
Uh,
It says Macy's right here. They opened up a credit card, but they didn't fully understand the terms, and now they got the card and they want to close it.
is that the 27% interest that scared you away? Um,
Possibly, right?
let's see. So you got the credit limit, and that's going to appear on your credit score. I mean, on your credit report. So when you pull the credit report in a couple of weeks, you're going to have that credit limit. But if you close it, you erase that credit limit, and so maybe the first 3 weeks your points go up, and then when you close it, your points go down. Um, I would just say go ahead and do what you feel is better. Close it. That way you're not tempted to spend at Macy's big sales every week.
Especially right
Um,
now.
but uh, if you're looking to improve your credit score, I know in the first 3 weeks you're going to see your score go up because they're giving you that credit limit and you haven't spent anything. But once you close it, you'll shrink that credit limit, so it's going to change again. So just be careful what else you use. But
Okay,
it's not going to look bad on you. It's just an activity that's going to appear on your credit report.
right. And the last question here that I have is, I did everything. This is related to COVID-19 right now in the um, time that we're in. And it says, I did everything on my end to contact the credit card company and let them know that I'm not able to make payment right now. So they've deferred my payment or pushed it forward to end of July. So my payment won't be due until July. Will this still impact my score negatively?
They're saying that they're not going to do that.
Okay.
Um, so I only did that on my Chase card. When you go to the website for these credit cards, there should be a COVID announcement or a banner, and click on that. It should be their policy of what they're going to do for you. They're going to, forbearance is postponing the payment for 3 months. So with Chase, they say, we're going to postpone your payment for 3 months. So on my online billing, it's no payment due. And they said they're not going to report to the credit bureau. So you want to look for that wording also. And so you apply online, and then they send you an email that they approved you. You want to save that too. So you need to look at the website of each of your credit cards and make sure there's that wording. And they shouldn't report late. I mean, you're going to be charged interest, but it shouldn't be, a ding on your credit report. If there is, let me know. We can dispute it. It's just a matter of disputing, and you can even dispute it online. Um, you just go online, open up your credit report from Equifax, Experian. You have to create a profile on each credit reporting agency. You have to create a password and a PIN word, and you have to answer all these questions. Eventually, they'll give you your report. But once you scroll down on your credit report, there's always a link there to dispute, and you just click that link, dispute. You could enter your reason, or upload a receipt, and you can actually dispute online, and it's pretty fast. Yeah, very electronic now.
Yeah.
Also with loans, car loans too, they have some help, and mortgages too. They have forbearances. So there's a lot of help now than before. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there definitely is. I think just the best thing if you're unsure is to contact your lender, your credit card issuer, and your local bank if you have any sort of questions that are tied to you specifically in your accounts. But something that you mentioned is to have everything in writing and how important that is, and having something that in case something comes up, we're all human, sometimes we forget, people make mistakes, and so that's why it's important to have everything in writing, especially right now. The whole country is facing this pandemic together, and so they're dealing with customers all the time. You're not the only one facing this difficulty, so it's always good to have something in writing to protect
Hmm.
yourself, but also to help the person assisting you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be afraid of calling your bank, your creditors. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the first thing I always tell with the home buying education at the end. If you can't make the payment, you got to call your lender, tell them what's the situation, and they have options. So, don't be afraid.
Right. Yeah. That's why it's super important to have a relationship with your local bank and, organizations such as yourself and ourselves so that you're getting the best information, and it's people that are here to serve and help our community and making sure that you're successful in reaching your goals, whether that's a business or home or car purchase, whatever that may be for you. So, don't be afraid to reach out. It doesn't hurt to ask a question. You never know what you might find out by just simply asking. So, anyway, those are the questions that we have for now. I would like to give you a few minutes to just kind of provide your information, let people know how they can reach you, if you have a social media page or other information that you would like to provide for all of those watching right now so that they can make sure to contact you.
All right. So I didn't fix this page here for some reason, but my name is Isabel Duran, and my email address is Isabel, Isabel .Duran @operationhope.org. And my phone number is 562-673-5177. And you can text me, you can email me, and we can make an appointment. And I'll send you some forms to give me authorization, and we can start credit counseling or find out what you need. I also do the counseling, disaster counseling. So there's a lot of resources out there depending on what county you're in. If you need help with renting, um, there's all the phone numbers, the social service numbers, and all those things that they provide us to give you. So, don't be afraid to ask for help. We're all in the same boat.
Yes, yes. And so, I just want to thank you again, Isabel, for joining us and providing this information to our community. Hopefully those of you that are watching us right now, or even later if you weren't able to join us live, we want to thank you. And if there's anything we can do, if Isabel can help you during this time as you're dealing with questions of credit, or you have, some work you want to do on your credit score because you have a plan to purchase a home in a year or 2 years, reach out. Don't be afraid. It's always good to have a second set of eyes or just a second person to provide that advice and guidance so that you are confident in knowing that the steps that you're making are going to basically put you in a better place financially so that you can achieve that goal. And so, I want to thank you again, Isabel, for your time. And once again, we'll be putting all her information in the comments and in the description of this video. So if any of you need help and want to reach out to Isabel, she'll be more than happy to help you in your credit needs and anything you may need regarding the subject matter. So we'll be providing that for you. If you guys want, you guys can send us your email or contact information, and I can also pass it on to her so that she can reach out. But without further ado, I know a lot of you are excited about the raffle that we have and have signed up and are participating here. And so, let's get you guys down below in the comments, see who you think is going to be the winner this week of that $50 Target gift card. I know it's exciting. It's just a small way for us to say thank you for participating, but also hopefully this is something that can help you cover some of these costs during this time with not having all the income coming in, or just whatever your needs are. Hopefully this is of help. So just to keep the same rhythm going, we're going to spin the wheel 3 times, and on the 3rd time, whoever's name comes up, that'll be the winner. And as we've mentioned before, message us, send us your information so we can ship that card over to you as soon as possible. So with that, you'll start seeing the Wheel of Fortune on your screen, and hopefully your name should appear there. So we'll take a spin. Let's see who the first name is. Oh, Sonia Rojo. Sonia. Okay, so don't worry, Sonia. Your name is still in the raffle. We're just going to spin it 2 more times. Remember, on the 3rd try, that's who the winner will be. Ooh, Antonio Tui. Don't worry, Antonio. You're still in there. All right, here comes the winner. Who thinks is the winner? Let's see who the winner of this $50 gift card today. No way, Janet. Janet is the winner. Janet, I know you're watching. Comment, message us, send us your info so we can get that over to you. Once again, Isabel, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Operation Hope, for all you're doing in bringing hope back to our communities, especially during this time. I know you guys are doing amazing work, and so I want to thank you again for your time, for your expertise, and just joining us today and providing this education for our community. And so, all of you that are watching, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything. And don't forget to like our videos, like our page, so you can stay on top of all the videos that we're going to be doing throughout these next few days and weeks, so you can become a better informed consumer. And so thank you again, and I'll see you guys at our next workshop. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.